What's going on, everyone? Talon back here, and today I want to talk about something that has been in Dokkan for quite a while now, the more you think about it, and I want to talk about the pros and the cons of both of these, because I saw this throughout my comment section on my coverage of the latest V-Jump leaks, and we've seen it across other cards when they come out and everything, kind of noting like, is this a good mechanic? Is it a bad mechanic? Which one's better? Which one gives you more freedom? Which one allows more team building? All that kind of stuff. And I am, of course, talking about the difference between active skills and passive skills. All right. So just a quick, brief history real quick. As you guys know, an active skill is a thing in the game where something happens, whether it's you have passed a certain amount of turns, you have gotten below a certain amount of HP, you've done a certain amount of damage to an opponent or something, and then you are able to then swipe up on the character's icon when they are there on that turn, and you usually do something. So it can either be a transformation attack or it will be a just a huge, attack essentially. Okay, and I realize I just said transformation attack. It's 11 o'clock at night as I'm making this video because I just woke up from a nap. So anyway, so that's one of those. That's active skills, obviously. And then passive skills are things that just happen automatically, right? For example, you pass 3 turns, you transform. If you are below 50% HP, you automatically transform. Or you do this or do this. Usually it's transformations. Like, I think it's like 99% chance it's basically transformations / exchange mechanics. But that is what it is. All right. So I want to go over real quickly what the new Kefla is going to have. As kind of spoilers, Kefla is the next Dokkanfest unit to be coming in June. Technically the very end of May. It's probably gonna be like May 31st or so. But the June Dokkanfest unit that we can expect for the JP version of the game. Okay. So I want to talk about that. I want to compare it to Boo and Gotenks in terms of more just simply the active / passive skills. And I want to look at some other cards that have been, revealed throughout the community, or a lot of people love, or a lot of people hate, and just kind of look at Kefla and just be like, is this a good mechanic to give her, or should this have been changed? And I will make a little note about, potentially that there is a mistake in the V-Jump, but again, we'll get into that in just a minute, okay? So moving forward, first off, we have Boo here, okay? So Boo was a exchange / transformation mechanic at the beginning, which was a passive skill, okay? So this is the katakana for passive skill, okay? And then henshin means, this is Kotai. Gotenks is henshin. But this is Kotai right here, which means to exchange or to swap. And then there is an active skill, henshin, which allows you to transform into Super Boo after you've passed, I believe it's like 7 turns basically in total, and you're above a certain amount of HP and all that kind of fun stuff, right? So this is how Boo works. It's both a transformation mechanic, aka a passive skill, and an active skill, which just happens to be another transformation, but regardless, you're allowed to activate that whenever you want to. Now, luckily with Boo though, you're gonna want to activate that no matter what, because he is at his best when he is transformed. But another example of where this may not be the best time to use that active skill is for somebody like AGL Zamos or for Tech Trunks. Both AGL Zamos and Tech Trunks, while they gain a lot of extra attack, they lose some of their defensive capabilities. Zamos actually mitigates less damage when he is fully transformed compared to when he's just simply merged Zamos, or Trunks, who stacks attack and defense on his first transformation, but then he, it basically is an orb changer, and then he gains a bunch of attack and defense per orb obtained, but all the attack and defense that he's been stacking for the entire time is gone. All right. So that's an example right there compared to Boo here, where Boo is like, you just want to get it off right away. Trunks and Zamos and maybe some other cards, you necessarily don't want to do that just yet, or maybe you don't even want to do it depending on what event you're going into, right? So again, it allows you to have that ability to do whatever you want in the end. I mean, like, for example, I love to transform Zamos all the way into his corrupt state when doing something like Super Battle Road on the very last, character, or if I know I'm not going to get attacked and I know I'm going to finish him off this battle, then I will transform him right away. If I know I can't though, or it's at the very beginning still, and I still have a ways to go during a particular battle, something like Infinite Dragon Ball History event, Legendary Goku event, you name it, then obviously I'm not going to transform him because, I want to keep him being able to mitigate more damage. He still does a really good amount of damage still when he is in just simply his merged state, and regardless, it allows me to do that when I want to, okay? Same with Trunks, right? If I'm on a longer event, I'm going to stack. If I'm on a shorter event and I happen to get Trunks into his, ability to use his active skill, I'm going to use his active skill, and I'm going to just obliterate the opponent, especially if my field just happens to get a bunch of tech orbs already, because when I transform again, then I will change another orb at random that is not tech, and then that's even more orbs for me to collect, and it just does a crazy amount of damage for him, right? So that's kind of a difference right there. If we look at someone like Gotenks, he's kind of the same thing, obviously, as Boo. He has a passive skill Henshin, or a passive skill transformation, and then he has an active skill transformation here, just like Boo does, where he goes into his Super Saiyan 3 state. Now, Gotenks is actually somebody you might want to wait a little bit, depending on what type of event you are playing on in terms of transform, because especially if you don't have any dupes, Gotenks gains the ability for 4 turns to have a super high chance to do an additional super attack, which he doesn't get that anymore after he gets past those 4 turns. If you're on those longer events and everything, you actually might want to wait a little bit until you get those, you know, into a certain battle, I should say, and then you're going to want to potentially do that, right? Again, it all depends on what you're playing, but regardless, Gotenks does have a little bit more flexibility there depending on what events you might be taking on, right? So hopefully I've explained, and I think, again, most people probably know the difference between a passive skill and an active skill. And what I want you guys to let me know right now is, which one do you prefer? Let me know down in the comments right now. With that being said, though, let's head on over to the official scans. These came out like literally 10 minutes after I released my original spoiler video from the leaks and everything. I didn't feel like trying to make another video just solely translating that, but I figured, oh, well, I'll weave it into this little discussion because I saw it all over the comments, like I stated before, and on my Twitter links and all that fun stuff. So here it is. Kefla is going to be the next Dokkanfest unit, okay? So she's going to start off as a base UR, okay, or technically an SSR here. Then she's going to Dokkan Awaken into a TUR, so she will be a base Kefla, which allows you to run her alongside the physical. Although, let's be honest, I don't think many people really run the physical Kefla, but the moment she does eventually get an easy A, yeah, she's probably going to be a beast, right? So she's going to be a TUR. I wonder if they're going to make a free-to-play, you know, ability, you know, a free-to-play one that we can farm the super attack on. Probably not, but you never know. We'll have to wait and see. But regardless, so anyway, she's going to be the TUR. Then it states right here, passive skill de Henshin, which means a passive skill transformation, which allows you to go into Super Saiyan Kefla. Okay, just normal Super Saiyan 1 Kefla. Then via another passive skill Henshin, which is passive skill transformation, she goes into Super Saiyan 2 right here. All right, so this is very similar, at least based on how this is worded right here, how somebody like transforming Goku, transforming Frieza, and transforming Vegeta work, where no matter what, you know, if you have done the requirements in order for that passive skill, again, I'm using passive transformation, passive active skill here, then you will transform automatically. There is no stopping it. There is no ability to, you know, activate it when you want to. She will transform into Super Saiyan 1 followed by Super Saiyan 2, however it might work, right? So for example, maybe Super Saiyan Kefla just, you know, activates on the 3rd turn, right? Or simply the next turn that you show up. So very similar to Trunks, Zamasu, Fat Boo, and Gotenks currently right now, right? And then maybe in order to get the 2nd transformation, your opponent has to be 50% HP or above, and then she'll go into Super Saiyan 2 or something like that, right? So you can kind of control that, but let's be honest, it is a little tough sometimes, especially depending on what event you are playing on. So trying to get that for her particularly might be a little tricky, but on the other hand, for some of it might be easy, okay? Now this is where I do want to make a statement that there is a slight chance that because it is a double passive skill Henshin or a double passive skill transformation, that this right here could be a typo and maybe it is meant to be active skill, or maybe this one's meant to be active skill, but generally haven't really made many mistakes on V-Jump as of late. The last one, if I remember correctly, that they made was the Gogeta and Broly from the movie, because they were probably a little like rushed about it and everything. So I'm gonna guess that this is probably just simply it's passive skill both ways, right? She'll transform, you know, for example, let's say on the next turn that she comes back, and then the 2nd transformation to go Super Saiyan 2, she will get that if you are fighting somebody with 50% HP less or more, however they want to make it, or maybe your HP or however, you know, whatever the case is going to be, right? Or maybe you have to have a certain amount of, you know, Universe 6 characters on your team or something like that. You know, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. We'll get that data download / Twitter reveal a week probably or so, I would probably say. But regardless, so that is how Kefla is going to work, all right? So now let's go over into some of the characters that have a passive skill that have been both good and bad, I think, kind of ranked by the community and everything. And some of these are just simply more well-known examples, not necessarily bad or good if you want to use them or anything. And then I want to go into the active skills. And then again, I'm going to ask you guys the same question that I asked you at the beginning, okay? So a very basic, easy example of a passive skill transformation is just simply Super Saiyan Goku, right? The transforming AGL Goku, right? He comes around the next turn, boom, he goes into Super Saiyan 2, then Super Saiyan 3, then God, and then Blue. And once you're in Blue, then you're there, right? Now, the nice thing about this Goku is that he raises attack and defense indefinitely until you get into the Super Saiyan Blue state, which is then where you have like a high chance to stun, which, you know, it can be good for some stages, not many though, unfortunately, because let's face it, in a event where you can stun, you never reach Blue, and in those events where you do reach Blue, you can't really stun most people, right? Now, luckily, he can mitigate damage, he does a bunch of other stuff, so he's actually fine, in all honesty, right? But this is just, again, one example of that. And then again, we have like, you know, the transforming Frieza, we got the Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, you know, again, just other examples of that. Another example of this is going to be the World Tournament King Piccolo, where simply if you are fighting somebody from the Dragon Ball Saga World Tournament or Dragon Ball Seekers category, automatically you will transform no matter what. It is going to happen. And then also 7th turn, which is, you know, still garbage to this day. But regardless, that is one way that King Piccolo here can transform automatically, you know, especially on something like Super Battle Road or something like that. You are going to transform like that the moment you show up. Doesn't matter where your HP is, doesn't matter where their HP is, nothing like that. All right. Another example is going to be the free-to-play LR Tech Maju, but by the way, amazing card. Seriously, get this guy rainbowed for get some of those other LRs in there. But anyway, regardless, he is the exact same thing where if you are 40% below in HP, then you will fuse with Mr. Boo automatically, all right? Which can actually be pretty helpful on something like Super Battle Road. You know, you enter a stage and you're really trying to use an item, and then boom, he transforms. He's awesome. He's kicking ass and everything. It's really cool. So that's another example of a passive transformation right there. Another one, most recent, both to Global and JP, is the transforming Super Saiyan 2 Angel Goku and transforming to Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, where if your opponent is 80% HP or more and it's after the 3rd turn, they'll transform automatically. Okay, they don't have an active skill, there's no voice lines or anything like that. All right. Now there is one of these that has kind of been like, it really would, you know, is by no means by saying that the card is bad because of this or anything. It just would have been nice to where to be an active skill. Is the example of the Into Future Gohan, because he starts out as a support unit, and then it's after the 4th turn, and if you happen to have a Trunks on the team with you and your HP is 58% or more, then you will automatically transform into the Super Saiyan Future Gohan. You'll start stacking attack, you mitigate damage and everything like that, which is really cool. He's still, you know, still really powerful, but sometimes being that category, support unit can be really helpful depending on certain events that you might be in. So there are a lot of people who are kind of hoping that maybe Future Gohan would have been more of an active skill compared to simply being automatically happens, right? Again, it all depends on the event that you run into, and everyone's going to differ in terms of what they think is better. But regardless, that is one example where a lot of people seem to be split on, oh, Future Gohan, you know, should he have been a passive skill? Should it have been an active skill? Regardless, right? And then you have other ones that are just completely like, yeah, no, we want this to happen right away. Boom, when we get it, you know, we've got something like the AGL Super Saiyan Gogeta, who just simply after 5 turns, boom, transforms. There's no downsides to it. He is awesome. He's automatically instantly more powerful. It is, right? Another example is the LR STR Gogeta and the LR Tech Vegito, who both transform into Super Saiyan Blue versions of themselves. Now, there is a little bit of a case to be made that imagine if you actually could use that as an active skill for them, instead of just automatically transforming at the 4th turn to continually stack their attack and then transform them. Yeah, that would be pretty crazy right there. Again, that's probably why they didn't do it, but regardless, that is one example right there. And then they gain an active skill after the next turn if the HP is 50% or lower on the opponents, because then they do the big, you know, either final Kamehameha or the big Kamehameha that they do from their respective movie/TV. So those are a bunch of different examples of passive skills. And then obviously you guys know active skills here. Anything from something like the AGL Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, which you never see. Yeah, you guys don't know about that one. A very good example that a lot of people love is something like the STR Cooler, because you don't need to transform him no matter what. You can keep him as one of the best transformation boost category support units in the game. Plus he's the leader of it. You just throw him off rotation and have all good guys if you want to, or if you are running more of a mixed bag or more of a extreme type team, then you can transform him and the dude hits like a truck no matter what event he is on, right? And he can still actually block pretty decently too. So that's another example of where it works out really well. Another example who's very underrated is the Physical Piccolo. He's a very good card, so he's right there. Again, I mentioned about Trunks and Zamasu where these have to be active skills, and you get to choose when you get to do that and everything, right? So it can definitely be one of those things. So with all that being said, the big question is Kefla, is a double passive transformation going to be good or bad? Right now, obviously, we don't know the details of her cards. We don't know if she's going to be more of a support unit first and then goes into an all-out just brawler, or is she going to stay a brawler all the way through no matter what, and she just simply powers up more? It's hard to say, right? But it does spark an interesting debate. Which is better, or which do you prefer to more? Prefer the passive skills that just happen automatically, or do you prefer the active skills that you can use whenever you want, depending on if you've met those requirements? So that is going to be the final question, though, that I asked at the very beginning of the video, guys. Which do you prefer, passive skill, active skill? I'll have a poll in the top right corner, and leave your comments down below. Give me some examples of which you prefer and all that fun stuff. So anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for the video, though. Again, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments as always. Leave a like if you liked the video. Subscribe if you happen to be new. Until next time, everyone, I will see you all in the next one. Jane.